Oops, forgot this comparison. Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Today, let's take a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Superman and Batman. Or more specifically, Detective Comics 1000 Batman and Action Comics 1000 Superman. I've been kind of nervous to get to these two because of how much is riding on these at the moment. It's McFarlane's first offering from their DC line, so people automatically look at these in the package, scale-wise, sculpt-wise, articulation-wise. They make their final decision right then. Oh, don't like it. Ooh, I kind of like it. Or I'm going to give it a try, and that's where I'm at. Because honestly, although this isn't my scale, I've never had a Superman and really a Batman that I really liked. Mostly Superman. I feel like all the other companies have just kind of shortchanged us a little bit, so I want to see what's going on here. Looking at the packaging, it's what you're seeing on pegs right now for the whole line. There are 3 figures that come with a Build-A-Batmobile that are a little bit bigger, but everything else comes in these. And it's fairly minimal. You see the comic art in the background, but the box itself is just black, white striping, DC Multiverse. And then the window shows you everything you get. On the side, same thing. On the back, artwork depicting Superman and Batman, and down here's other figures in the line. On the other side, Batman, Superman, I showed that a second ago. Windows on top, on the bottom, legalese, barcodes. Oh, Superman's got a hand loose. But let's get this open and see what's going on here. Trading card, same artwork from the back of the box. On the back, you get the actual bio. You also get this, which is pretty common with all the McFarlane lines at the moment. Fairly basic stand, foot peg right there. DC logo. Get Superman open. I forgot he comes with an actual flight stand. There you go. Slides together. Locks into place. It does have a foot peg right there in case you don't want Superman up, and away. Bring it open. I guess if you want to have him this way, you can either clamp on the front, or if you just want to have him floating in the air, clamp them on the back. And it has them up just a little bit. Ooh, and once it's clamped on, it's a fairly tight fit. Those detents work really well. Getting them out of the package, they are fine action figures, but there are some inconsistencies that kind of... Looking at Batman first, which is usually a sign of which figure I like less out of a pair, but it's still cool for a Batman figure. The sculpting is nice for a dude in tights and a cape with a belt on top. I'm not sure of this version of the costume. It's been a long while since I've read some comics, but my favorite version of the chest emblem is usually just the black bat. But I also like the contrast of the yellow belt here. And then of course there's the trunks. I don't know if this went back to that look or if this is from before the look without the trunks, but again, I prefer it with the trunks. It's a break between top and bottom, so it being on this figure appeals to me. Have the spiky blades on the back of the gloves. On this side, it was a little bent out of the package, but once I kind of straighten it out, it seems to want to go back a little bit, but it's not as bad as it was. I almost thought the boots were a separate piece, but it doesn't seem to move. It kind of looks like it is, but it doesn't rotate. There's no articulation there. Kind of a shame because I like when the point of the boot goes right center of the knee. It's a little bit off. It kind of bugs me, but not bad. Then I love this texture running up the side. It's enough just to break up that classic feel of the gray bodysuit. It adds some detail, but it's not so right in your face. And then as far as paint goes, I think everything is pretty much cast in its colors here. There's not quite a black. It's a bluish black, which I like. A little bit of roughness, a little bit of paint peeling here at the belt, but it is very clean on the emblem, which is sculpted onto the chest. But then up at the head, it's almost an animated type feel. I'm not sure of the art that they base this on, but is it animated style? Kinda, a little bit, or pulls from that. But you'll see the paint of the skin is a little bit rough between cowl and flesh. But I do like the shape of the eyes, gives them a little bit of edge. I do not like the black line in the mouth. But then for Superman, it's almost the same size body. It has maybe just a little bit more bulk. And while some people say he skipped leg day or he's a little thin in the arms, I like the overall proportions here. To me, it's that classic powerfulness. He doesn't have to be ripped with muscles popping and bulging out of everywhere. It goes up to his chest, and that's where the focal point is. Like Batman, I'm not familiar with the finer points of this costume, this iteration of it. So I don't know if these chevrons are right here on the sleeves. They don't stick out enough at me to bug me, though. He's got the classic trunks. He's got the belt loops over the yellow belt. That's all nicely done. Got the up here at the top of the boot, which again feels like a separate piece, or looks like a separate piece, like there's a cut right here, but again, no articulation. But it does keep the color consistent between the reds that are molded in the same colors and the blues for the same point. The cape is a fairly nice sculpt. I like how it well, how it's sculpted to drape, but it is a little bit thick and heavy. And since I missed it, the same could be said for Batman's cape too. It's got some flow to it, and I like the look of it in this position, but both of them, you want some dynamic posing. Yeah, this is kind of getting in the way. The centerpiece of the costume for me, though, is the S-shield. Man, this candy red they've done this in, which is a beautiful contrast against the matte yellow. Your eye is automatically drawn right there. Dun, dun, dun. Then up at the head, it's a nice sculpt. It's powerful. It's Boy Scoutish. It's what I think of when I think of Superman. I'm not sure of the artist again, but it's very generic Superman. The eyes are painted nicely. They're both looking in the same direction, which seems to be just slightly right. And it almost seems like he has some rosiness to the cheeks. The hair is a nice sculpt, but the detail is kind of lost in the glossiness of the black. I wish that was kind of knocked down a little bit. For both figures, we kind of expected this, but if you're into McFarlane's Fortnite line, you know that the articulation there jump-started McFarlane's want to put articulation in all their figures. So it's a little bit familiar here. The import-style wrist, which is a swivel hinge swivel, gets nice movement. I wish it was a little bit more sunk down in there, but again, that's McFarlane's style. Same for the ankles. It thins down to that ball joint, and it could be better hidden, but again, that's McFarlane's style. That's what we've been seeing. Batman's cape comes down over the shoulders, which is a fantastic look, but at the same time, it kind of gets in the way of maneuverability. You can still get the arm up, but you can't get it up and around. Well, I don't know. I say that, and it does kind of want to get out of the way if you want it to. You throw it back a little bit. The capes on both figures, because of the thickness, are a little bit heavy. So unless you have them leaning just slightly forward, the center of gravity is thrown off. Yep. Trust me, it does. Batman, you too? Come on, man. I will see one of these fall before the end of the day. Yeah, see? If you have it straight up and down... Okay, never mind. But like I said, one of my biggest gripes, I think, while I like both figures, the inconsistency of the line itself. Batman is just as tall as Superman. For some reason, Superman's elbows are single hinge, while Batman's are double. You only get this far. Batman, all the way up. Also, Superman's hips don't seem to have, well, it has a little bit of twist. With Batman, you get full-on rotation at that joint, kind of hidden by the rubber shorts here. The ab cut for Superman, it's nice, it feels natural, it's across, it's what we're used to seeing. For some reason on Batman, they sculpted the top set of abs up onto the top parts. I don't know, it kind of looks like a dog. Think the biggie for me. I could live with them being the same height, I could almost live with them being the same bulk. But Batman's head is so much smaller than Superman's. And that, more than anything, makes them feel out of scale with each other. They are in scale with each other, but the scale. If I had to pick, I like Superman's bigger head. It makes the whole body feel more in proportion. With Batman, he's a lot of body, a little bit of head. And then not to beat a dead horse, but Superman also has these shiny spots here and there that if you catch the light just right, or you put him up in the display, kind of looks like wet, like he's been flying over the ocean or something. Going over articulation, Batman's head, for whatever reason, comes right off. There's a dumbbell joint up at the top of the neck. Actually better up than I figured. Looks down, and a surprising amount of tilt. Swivel. There is a shoulder joint like Fortnite where it's a dumbbell. You can bring it up, you can come down, bring it forward, you can take it back. Comes out to a hinge and swivel where you can swing the arm up, rotate around, but like I said, the cape kind of gets in the way. Actually, the cape rotates on the neck. Oh, Batman's definitely dead now. Swivel at the bicep. Double elbow, pretty much all the way up. Swivel hinge swivel at the wrist. You can go side to side, but if you bring it here, rotate it around, shoot, it goes up and down. Ball joint mid-torso, ball joint at the waist together. A little bit of crunch. I feel like it would go a little bit further if this wasn't here. Arcs back. Tilt. Tilt. The belt and the crotch piece are all a rubber overlay, so the legs swing up, back, out. You know what that's better than, right? Swivel at the hip around all that assembly right there. Double knee, not quite, but damn impressive. Ankle joint that's the same as the wrist, goes back, goes forward. You can rotate the whole joint, but there's also a forward-facing pin for rocker, and then a toe joint goes up to there. For Superman, he has a dumbbell joint up there too, but it is way tighter. I can't pull the head off. In fact, it's so tight it sticks a little bit. For Superman, I would like to see better up. There's down. Can't deny the tilt. Swivel. Same shoulder assembly as Batman. You can bring it back, forward, up. There's down, goes out to a hinge and swivel that comes up that far, around. Rotation at the bicep. Single elbow, I don't know why. 90 degrees. Wrist hinges, rotates side to side. Ball joint mid-torso, ball joint at the waist, comes forward. Well, I don't know. His is pretty open and it doesn't get much further than Batman. Back, tilt, tilt. Again, rubber undies, but I don't know if it's the stiffness of that or the different assembly at the hip, but his leg only comes up to here. Well, I say only because Batman came up to full 90. Back to there, but still gets that. Come on. Very slight rotation at the hip. Double knee, bing. Ankle goes back, forward facing pin for rocker. Toe joint, very, very tight, but comes all the way up. For accessories, Batman comes with this Batarang. It's a little bit thick, I think, but it's got a nice shape to it. And he has an open hand that just slips right in. You could put it between the fingers for more of an outlook or put it into his grip for straight up and down. The fingers are nice and soft, but go back enough to grip it. And then he comes with this grapnel gun. Nice sculpt to the gun, kind of plain with the silver, but it does its job. And then it's got a grappling hook shooting out of it. I like the little twist to it, but that's stuck there. It's actually part of the sculpt, it seems like. And if not, it's just glued there, so it's not coming out. You can snip it off if you don't care for this part, but again, nice soft hands, goes right in. Although I do wish this came off and there was some kind of hook on the back to clip it on and hide it away or something. Or at least somewhere to store the Batarang when you're not using it. No. And then besides the flight stand, Superman comes with 2 flying hands or open relaxed hands, whichever. The hands pop off. It's a nice pop. It stays on there, but it's also easy to pull off, so I like that. And with that, he comes with a left fist and a grip right hand. That is actually a trigger finger hand, but he doesn't come with any accessory. I would have really liked 2 fists, especially if you want to put his hands on his hips, whatever. I feel like that would have been more options. This is going in the tub and never seen again. Both figures stand at about 7 inches tall to the top of the head, even though, for whatever reason, maybe it's the ears throwing me off, but Batman seems a little bit taller. Here they are with the McFarlane Toys mech suits for both of them. It actually feels like this goes into here, this goes into here, and the shiny S's are killing me. I love them. If you do McFarlane's Mortal Kombat stuff, same size, 7-inch scale. The same can be said for their Fortnite line. In fact, the possibility of mixing and matching all this makes the DC stuff a little bit more fun. Or if you just need some random thugs for them to beat up, villain henchmen maybe, or just a little bit of wackiness, which everybody needs. Like I said, 7-inch scale, so this is not a replacement for your DC Universe Classics or Multiverse line. And even though the scale started to creep right at the end of Mattel's run, I don't feel like this Alfred works with Batman. And I don't know what happened to that Batman. Different scales, same size head. Well, actually, Mattel may be a little bit bigger. Although I'm not sure what size he's supposed to be in this costume. But as a classic teenage Robin in a different kind of costume, the collecting connects work really well though. And then even though Marvel Legends is bigger than 6-inch scale, it's not quite 7-inch scale. So again, doesn't work. Well, I don't know. Thor and Superman may be pretty close, but as regular humans go, that doesn't. Okay, curiosity got the best of me. I have to try this Mattel head on Batman. It doesn't quite pop down on it. But even then, it's still a little too small to match up with Superman. Other 7-inch lines though, here is the NECA Dark Knight Joker and 1990 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Donatello. I think that'll work. Here's a couple of Jokers from either DC Direct or DC Collectibles. I can't keep track of all that. But then here is NECA's convention exclusives, DC Superman and Batman, and they're pretty dang close in size. Especially when it comes to the heads. Cloth capes, which are fairly nice on both of them. This is ripped in 90s. This is slightly animated comic book classic style. I don't know. They won't be on the shelf together, but they both will end up in the display somewhere. So at the end of the day, I like this Superman and Batman, but I still feel like it's not my perfect Batman and Superman. There are a lot of elements I like here. I like the overall bodies on the figures. I love the black bat. I love the shiny S shield. Articulation is fantastic on Batman. I wish it was up to the same standard on Superman. But like I talked about way at the first, inconsistencies. Superman has kind of a realistic look to his head on top of it being better proportioned to his body, while Batman has an animated look to his head and it's kind of small. I could overlook them being the same height if they fit together better as a team or a duo. And I think that may be my problem across the line. It seems like every figure is from a different source. At the same time, I feel like I'm also looking through rose-colored glasses at the Mattel DC Universe Classics line. I do like that line. It's in tubs right now waiting for space, for shelving, to get it all out. But I think it was because they went so deep with that line. We got so many characters and they look so nice next to each other that it's almost a plus that all the bodies were pretty much shared. But at the same time, Mattel started taking away articulation and proportions, and then when they tried to add it back in, they lost scale, and it was all over the place there for several years. And while I would like a DC line that could go with my Marvel Legends and stuff, I wouldn't display it that way. In my head, I think, I want all my toys to be the same scale, but then I put them on shelves and they're all in their own sections. If I can get deep with a DC line at 7-inch for the prices of this, I grabbed about not a lot of accessories here, but they're $19.87 at Walmart, $19.86. They're under 20 bucks at Walmart. But I also see myself getting to the next play day and trying on some cloth capes here, some alternate heads, some swapping out. I've seen a lot of that online, and there's a lot of nice looking stuff out there. So I'm gonna leave it with that. It's a lot of nice plastic for this price. But if you don't like these versions of the costumes, or you don't care for this scale, or if you're looking for a more cohesive line overall through all the characters, this may not be for you. So if you enjoyed the review, comment, like, subscribe, or whatever the platform you're watching this on allows. Much love to the plus. If you want to see videos early or you're in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll catch you on the Fwoosh.